Hi, I'm Carlos Posada with Posada Custom Homes, and this is Chris Curry from All Florida Insulation. Chris, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and the company?
Well, I've always been a serial entrepreneur, right? This is probably the third company that I've built. We knew that energy efficiency was going to be a thing in the future, and here we are now. Utility companies are doubling rates on power, and it's only going to get worse. So,
incredible.
If you're going to get into something, get in early, right?
Yeah.
And so we started, and you started with bat and blow and very quickly worked into spray foam and grew really every single year since then.
How did you go about finding that source that would be, because you ended up working with Demilab?
Which is Huntsman, sure, absolutely.
Yeah.
There's a lot of foams out there, and to understand foams, there are a lot of blenders. There are very few manufacturers, right? Okay. And so they buy the chemical components and they put it together. Well, one of the things to know is 50% of the component is isocyanurate, and there's only a couple companies that manufacture it in the world. Huntsman just happens to manufacture their own. Everybody else is getting it from China. And when you look at the drums of these materials, one day it looks like clear Caro corn syrup, and the next day it looks like molasses. Now, I don't want my guys to have to be an engineer in the field and figure out what we need to do to adjust the chemistry to make this work. So consistency is important. Then, Huntsman also manufactures a lot of the chemicals that are in their foams, in their resins
here in the U.S.
And so a lot more quality control. I mean, I can, 2 seconds, I can have a building science guy, I can have a chemist on the phone and ask questions if, we have applications. I mean, we've done things, I can't say for who, but we've done things that are certainly orbiting the Earth at the moment, right? And you're like, well, I got a building science question. Let me call somebody, right? Those guys will answer that kind of thing for me. And the small blenders have no ability to do that.
What do you see out in the market that indicates, hey, the world of foam isn't quite as simple. We need to be watching and looking and doing, and that's what you guys do. Tell us.
Honestly, the subcontractor that you hire is critical. There are a lot of people that, and I was one of them when I started. One truck. And he's the sprayer, he's the sales guy, he's everything, and he just doesn't understand what's going on. When we hire someone to bring them onto our team, and you've seen the same sprayers that have still spraying today that sprayed in 07.
And I know they were highly trained before they ever set their foot on the first house they could.
They will start out as a helper, just toting hoses and putting plastic on windows for more than a year. And then they'll be with another sprayer side by side with two reactors in a truck, and they'll spray with them for another year and a half before they're ever left out on their own. So
not only the chemical that we were talking about that you're getting with Huntsman, is that the installation of those trained mechanics. You're the head guy, but those guys that you're leading, it's invaluable in being done correctly. The spray time, the spray thickness, the checks on the chemicals and pressure and the hose.
And things that we do different that I think really help. One, this job is not done until myself or my brother walks it. I don't care what the building official says. I don't care what my crew says. Until one of us puts eyes on this job, it's not done.
Every job. Thank you.
Every job. The other thing is the way that we compensate our employees. This industry is full of people that are paid by the square foot, which means hurry, or I don't get paid. And my guys are compensated by the hour. They're very well paid. The difference is they can stop if there is something not going well, and they're still going to get paid.
And correct the problem
instead
of running through it.
Other mistakes I see in custom homes: sound walls, interior sound walls. You can't fix it after this is drywalled. And and you do all
without a lot of cost.
Without a lot of cost.
Starting over.
And the number one complaint if you look in new homes is sound. I hear everything through the walls. And so a little bit of fiberglass in those walls goes a long way. Toilets flushing and things like that.
I am such an advocate for that. One of the things I say is, and I mean everything's an expense and you have to analyze everything, but I think one of the best values in the entire building process, and I got a lot of little steps that we do, is insulation. I think the impact, dollar for dollar, when you sound insulate, like Chris is saying, it's crazy effective. I've walked into houses where you have insulated every wall inside, and it's dramatically different in sound. You can close the door, have a conversation.
They sound different when you close the doors. It's like closing a door in a Mercedes versus closing a door on a very low-end car.
Speaks highly to the value of that. Thank you, Chris.
And you use cast iron downspouts.
Yes,
and that mitigates
we do
sound.
That for sound.
Sound between floors.
Yes.
So you don't get all the footsteps.
We're trying to do everything. There's always another layer of trying to do more, but there's definitely that initial, and I think very valuable, cost-effective is including those that you just mentioned. Incredibly effective.
Other big issues that I see.
Yeah.
And it's trends, right? Sometimes trends change what's going on. The current trend is to put massive kitchen hoods in houses. Really big hoods.
You're speaking about makeup air.
I'm talking about makeup air because we have to make up the air that we suck out.
Yeah.
And so just using round numbers, if we have 1,000 CFM hood in a 5,000 square foot house, right? We're sucking out a 10 foot by 10 foot by 10 foot tall room of air conditioned air and sending it to the state of Florida.
In how long?
So every minute we're going to suck out a 10 by 10 by 10 room. Every 60 seconds, you're cooking for 30 minutes. You've sucked out 30 rooms of air conditioning.
Yeah.
Now, the air conditioner needs that air. So what's it going to now do? It's going to put the house at a negative pressure, and we're now going to attempt to suck in from outside hot, humid air.
Yeah.
And when we bring in hot, humid air through building materials, whether it's under sill plates or through doors or windows, gaskets, tiny penetrations, when you bring warm, moist air in, you accelerate microbial growth.
Yeah.
And so we need to balance the house. In a perfect world, this house is always neutral. It's neither positive nor negative, right?
Yeah.
And so the last thing that we do is, and as people are getting much more serious about it, this generation is much more in tune to quality, indoor air quality.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so we've now made this very tight box. And what building science has told us is it's too tight.
Yeah.
And so we need to control it and loosen it up a little bit. And we need to mechanically do that. We don't rely on pulling it through building materials, right?
Yeah.
So there's a duct that runs to outside, a damper that opens and closes.
It's a managed,
yes.
As opposed to what you described earlier, bringing it in through places where you're not even aware, and they're creating the microbial problem.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah. And so that's the problems that I see. Sometimes the insulation guy isn't bringing it up to the builder, and sometimes the builder, it's their first foray with foam. They've never done it before.
Right.
And they don't know better. The AC company doesn't know better. Or doesn't have the guts to step in and say, hey, stop. Let me spend a minute to educate everybody and make sure we're all on the same page. And that's the thing I think I bring to the table often is, hey, stop. This is different than every other house. Yeah. We need to think about this.
So with that said, I just want to thank you for participating in this today. Yeah, Chris.
Appreciate you.
It was excellent. And, again, if I'm Carlos Posada with Posada Custom Homes. If you have any questions about building a new home or getting involved in that process, please give us a call. We're kind of been doing this a while. We kind of know what we're doing. Happy to help you in the Central Florida area in any way we can. Then Chris, who does an amazing job, had an extremely successful business, has been running it for years. Chris, you can tell them how to reach you. And
Sure. Our email is office@allfloridainsulation. Website is allfloridainsulation.com. And the main line into the office is 407-260-2525. We'd love to talk to you.